Hey guys, so today I am going to be making this butterfly, so if you want to know how, stick around. Alright guys, we will start by making a magic circle, insert our hook, and pull up a loop, remembering to twist our hook as we pull it up. And then we take our working yarn and pull it through that loop. And that's how we do our magic ring. And then we're going to chain 2. And this will count as our first double crochet. And then we're going to make 2 more double crochets, making a cluster of 3. And then we will chain 2. And then make another cluster of 3 double crochets. And we will do this until there are 8 clusters in our ring. As I'm going, our tail is getting a little shorter, so we want to pull it just a little bit, but not too much, because we still need to work some more clusters in that ring. So now we are on our last cluster here. 2 and 3, and we will chain 2. And then that very first cluster that we made, we go into the top of that chain 3 and slip stitch, and then chain 1, and we're going to cut and pull through, and then we'll tighten that magic circle up. Make sure not to break your thread, just tighten it as much as you can. And it looks a little wonky, but it is coming together. Alright, and I've attached my second color by just tying it into one of the chain 2 spaces. And we're going to chain 3, and this will count as our first double crochet. And we're going to put 1 more double crochet, a chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets, all in that chain 2 space from our first row. And I'm not going to put any more stitches in the clusters. I'm just going to move over to the next chain 2 space in that dark blue in our first color and make 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets. And I will do this all the way around until I get to the start again. Alright, I am finishing up this last bit, doing my last double crochet of this round, and I am going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 from the beginning of this row. Alright, and then I will chain 1 and cut my work. And for this round, I have attached my third color into the chain 2 of the middle of the 2 double crochets on each side, so in that V. And gonna chain 3. Again, this will count as our first double crochet. And then I will be putting 4 more double crochets into the same stitch. So a total of 5, 4, and 5. Kind of pull my ends. I'm going to put them to the side and I will weave those in later. I just want them out of my way for right now. And then in this space where there's no chain 1 or anything, we're just going to put a single crochet. And then into that V again, 5 double crochets into that. And we will keep doing that pattern, 5 double crochets in the V, and then single crochet after and before until I get back to the beginning. Alright, so I just finished the last 5 double crochets, and I'm putting my last single crochet, and I'm going to chain 1 and again slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 and chain 1, snip our work. It's kind of looking like a flower right now. So what we're going to do to make the butterfly shape is take the 2 bumps on top and the 2 bumps on the bottom and put them together like that. And you can kind of see the shape of the butterfly that we're going for. So I'll go ahead and weave in these ends and I will come back to you to sew it up. Alright, so I've weaved in those ends. It doesn't have to be super pretty because it's going to be tucked inside there. So I'm going to go ahead and put just a little clip here so we know our shape. And I'm going to start. You can go all the way around the edges, and I'll go ahead and do that. But if you don't want to, you can just get to here and go up. But I'm going to go all the way around the edges. So I'm going to take my yarn, I'm going to tie it to secure it like that. And then just chain 1 to get it on there. And then in those loops, single crochet. And I am chaining or crocheting over my little tail piece to hide it. And then once I get a few stitches over it, I can cut it. But I'm just going to go a little bit further. And if it starts to kind of curve in on those curves, just put 2 single crochets instead of 1. If it gets tight, add more. If it gets too wobbly and loose, decrease or just add 1. Got a couple over there. So I'll go ahead and take this off since we know where our shape is. And then when we get to this little corner where it separates the bottom wing from the top wing, I yarn over and go like down further into that our second color, and then do a half double crochet so it kind of separates those 2 wings, and then keep going around. And now that I'm at the corner of that top wing, I am going to put 2 single crochets to kind of help it turn a little bit. And then just go across. It's harder to see the stitches, so kind of just do where it feels right and looks even. Some of the stitches on top are harder to get into, so I have switched to a smaller hook. I was using a 4.5, but for the top bit, I'm using a 2.5 just to have a little more control. Alright, now that we are back to where we started, we're going to put a single crochet in that same stitch that we put our very first one at, and kind of turn our work, and we'll go in through that same place and pull up a loop and slip stitch. And we'll go in just a little bit above that, do that, and we will keep doing this all the way up until you get to the very top here. Now that we're at the very top, we are going to chain, cut our yarn, and pull it through. You can leave it like this if you want and tie this to like a keychain or something. But I'm going to cut my yarn right there, and I'm going to split it. It helps if you have like a little needle. I kind of want to split it evenly, and that way I have like 2 little pieces there. Now I might wet them and make them more defined, but I use that so that I have like the little antenna vibe about it. There you go.